Now, the Russell Brand, very live, I hope, from Hawaii.
Online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
Like everybody else.
That was the Kinks. I'm not like everybody. You're listening to Russell Brand live on BBC Radio 2. This is actually live. If you've got a text for us, text it now on 88291, or you can email us on russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Also, if you want to phone us, because we're live, you can phone us on 0500 288 291. That's 0500 288 291. I'm here in the Hawaiian sunshine, kind of like a tropical prison cell looking out across an industrial hell, because you sort of have visions of Hawaii. I imagine you sort of think, oh, hula girls, someone playing one of them little guitar things. Well, let me tell you, it's a drug-crazed nightmare out here. People are swapping crystal meth on the street openly. It's replaced the dollar. So if you want to ring me up and keep me up to date with what's happening in England, call me on 0500 288 291, or you can email me at russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. We've got some fantastic guests coming up on the show later. I've got David Walliams from Little Britain. He'll be on the phone in a little while. And in the second hour, we'll be talking to Noel Fielding from the Mighty Boosh. It's going to be a, I mean, you could say comedy spectacular, but both of those men are very complex, and who knows what side of their personality will actually be unveiled. We've got lots of things to cover from last week. I've got lots of things to thank you for. Thank you for your splendid gifts, particularly the ones that were contraband and had to be smuggled into the country. Also, there's lots of things to talk about from England. For example, right, I want to talk to you about this. This is from today's Sun. Yobs treat Asbos as a badge of honour, say the Sun today, and who can blame them when a tourist attraction offers them free tickets while law-abiding kids stump up £20. I don't like the phrase stump up £20 because it makes me think of someone shoving £20 across a counter with, you know, an amputated limb. The London Dungeon says it wants to show louts the tortures their crimes merited in the 18th century. How absurd. Harsher punishments from 21st century courts will not force hoodies into line. Not a jolly dressed up as a history lesson. The only thing this stunt will teach them is that thuggishness pays. So if you want to talk to us about, you know, the London Dungeon trying to educate Asbo Yobs, call us on 0500 288 291, or anything really. Just ring for a bit of a chat, because I tell you something, Matt Morgan, who's normally here, ain't come to the studio today because it is Noel Gallagher's birthday party and he's cleared off to that. So we're going to talk to David Walliams in a little bit. I'm going to be chatting to Mr. G. He's there in the studio. Hello, G.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah. I'm in quite a good mood. Why you sound a little bit out of breath? Why is that?
I am out of breath because I have literally just rushed from a wedding to come to do this show. I received a text from Mikey, and I was sitting behind the groom, and I had to rush away like I was a superhero to go and change into a costume to come and do this show. To speak to you. But
you've not changed into a costume, though, have you? You're sat there in a suit with a carnation on.
I actually look like one of those old 60s soul singers, you know, or a doo-wop band. But
nice.
yeah,
So
it's been a rush.
I'm glad you've made the effort. You're a lot smarter than a bloke who used to do your job. Now, hey, listen, G. So you've left DJing at a wedding to come and DJ at the BBC.
DG even, yeah.
Why not? DG, it works perfectly.
I was in Grays. That's where the wedding was. It was in Grays. Your old stomping grounds.
I never used to stomp when I was in Grays because that's where I'm from.
There's like lots of footprints with your name written on it.
No, G. I used to meander very quietly in Grays because I was a nervous wreck while living there, because it is a very rough, violent place. Oh, them cold, hard streets of Grays. Growing up there with Tupac and Snoop Doggy Dogg is very much what shaped my comedy stylings. Listen, we're going to be talking more about all sorts of rhubarb. We're going to try and talk to Noel Gallagher at his birthday party, see if we can track Matt down there as well. Walliams is on his way to that party. We're going to give him a bell in a little while, but what's important for me is because we're live, right? I've been in Hawaii all this time. I've not been talking to the countless people who have forced our podcast back to number one through sheer willpower. Thank you very much. It's good to be at number one. I've had this email from someone calling herself Jessica Oakley, but we've got no actual evidence that that's her real name. Hello there. I was just looking through iTunes, other downloading things are available, checking the charts, etc., when I clicked on the Apprentice podcast and saw there is an uproar over the podcast. Many fans of the Russell Brand show have been reviewing the Apprentice, saying that it's crap and that we should all be listening to your show. I quite agree, by the way, says this person in parenthesis. Those are not my views. And there have been a few angry comments back telling the Russell Brand fans to stop slagging the Apprentice off. I just thought I'd let you know that there is a podcast war and it might lead to a Chicago-style prohibition Valentine's massacre situation. Wow, that's a bit worrying. Okay, well, thank you for your loyalty, people that have been criticising the Apprentice podcast, but just keep downloading our one. Perhaps we don't need to use negativity to stay at number one.
Russell, does this mean that we're going to do the whole ice cream thing then? The ice cream van?
Yeah. We've long promised that when we got to number one in the podcast charts, we would hire an ice cream van, possibly a fleet of ice cream vans, tour the country, dishing out ice creams to the people who have got us there. And instead of playing that da-din-da-diddle-din-da-din type ice cream music, I don't know what we'll play.
I think we should play Ride of the Valkyries.
Yeah, let's play that. Let's give it some operatic grandeur. And also, while we're doing that, I don't know what, like, you know, perhaps instead of giving out ice creams, perhaps absinthe, I don't know. And instead of it saying, mind that child on the back, which you would only see, you know, after the child's been run over, in all honesty, I think, you know, the back should just say, you know, download the podcast and perhaps a few slanderous comments about The Apprentice, which actually, in fact, is one of the programmes I deeply miss. Thank you again, everyone, for your fantastic gifts. Here's just a few of the people that have sent me lovely things. Helen Morgan, Citizen Morgan, she knows us, she's known as, sent me some handcuffs and lollipops here in Hawaii. So it's like, I don't know what kind of crimes I could solve. What kind of a detective would I be? Oh yeah, like a Kojak, I suppose. He used to use lollipops. So perhaps I can...
Did he use handcuffs, though?
Well, I don't know what he did with his private life, G, and that's something that perhaps we shouldn't be prying into. Listen, so if you want to email us, it's russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. If you want to ring us, I'll give you that number again, 0500 288 291. Give us a ring because, you know, we can actually communicate. You can tell us your views. Did you burn down the Cutty Sark? Was it you? Be honest. Who done that Cutty Sark? I love that Cutty Sark. Also, why is it called Cutty Sark? And why burn down the Cutty Sark? Don't burn down the Cutty Sark. Give us a ring if you've got any information on the Cutty Sark or just on your own life, really. Just let me know how you're feeling. That's 0500 288 291. We're going to listen to the Smiths' Half a Person. I'd like to dedicate this song to Matt Morgan because, you know, without him, half a person is essentially what I feel like. I hope you're all enjoying yourselves at Noel Gallagher's birthday party. We're going to ring Walliams in a second. He's on his way there. Give us your calls, give us your time, give us your love. Let's keep this show the best radio show in the damn country. Not my views, but the views of iTunes, a money-making organisation. Let's listen to the Smiths. That was the Smiths' Half a Person. You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. I'm dedicating that track to the filthy traitor. That is Matt Morgan.
He's not a filthy traitor.
He's a filthy traitor. Gee, you're meant to be my new sidekick. You just behave yourself there. You'll be back writing poems before you can say Jack Robinson.
Give me that. Can I ask you a question? You know, every time you play one of those Smith songs, right?
Yes.
Do you feel that you're fulfilling some secret mission set to you by Morrissey? Because we do play a lot of them.
Yeah, we do, because Morrissey has introduced himself as Russell Brand live on stage on more than one occasion. But, gee, you're going to have to learn, as my sidekick on this live broadcast, to step aside at vital moments like this, because, you know, sometimes you introduce a guest on a radio show and it's, you know, a moment of great pride. But on other occasions, it becomes almost celestial, almost holy, and this is one such occasion. David Walliams is on the line. You're right, David?
Good evening, Russell Brand. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Shelby. I'm in Hawaii, which is like as I've said before on the radio, it's a sort of a tropical prison, glorious and beautiful, but frankly I'm denied the things in London that keep me going, like fame and glory, but
Fame? I love your honesty.
Yes.
You're not famous enough in Hawaii, so you don't like it.
I don't like this fameless hell.
Just stay in Camden, then.
I'm famous beyond Camden. There are people as far...
Camden.
There's people in Finchley, David, that think that I'm doing incredible work.
One or two people just off the Finchley Road who know of you.
Yeah, so that chap from Big Brother. No, he's very good. Now, listen, David, what the hell are you doing even as we speak?
Well, I'm just with my friend James Corden.
Ah, the brilliant James Corden.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. And we're just about to head out to Noel Gallagher's 40th birthday party.
Well, how very convenient.
Quite showbiz, isn't it, really?
It is. It seems to be the event of the evening, and that's where Matt...
Quite glad you're not going, actually.
Well, I think it's going to be a sour affair due to my absence, David. I can't see it hitting the giddy heights of parties I'm in attendance at. Have you got your eye on anyone in particular?
Well, no, I tell you, I do have quite a crush on Noel's girlfriend, Sarah.
Yeah.
She's lovely.
She's a very...
Isn't she one of the most wonderful people you could ever hope to meet? I'm just setting my alarm as I go out of my house.
Yeah, no, do set your alarm. Please feel free to carry on with your domestic duties. It'll be all...
I have to. I told you. You only phoned me up 10 minutes ago. Bernard Cribbins pulled out or something.
Dear Bernard has been a trooper and very loyal to this show. I'm glad you're setting your alarm. I'd hate to think that someone might break into your decadent palace of luxury and take a whoopsie on one of your immaculate surfaces.
No, so yes, it should be good. No, I haven't got my eye on him. No, I mean, I'm just, I rather like a party.
Do you think... Yeah, well, you're a man who celebrates life very much. David, I think perhaps when I get back, perhaps we should build our friendship a little more, spend a little more time together.
Well, I'd like that, but unfortunately, every time I've ever made a sort of social occasion with you,
yeah,
we always said, oh, sorry, I can't come, I'm just about to be tossed off in the toilet by some fan.
That's obviously a euphemism that David's using there. He means tossed off in the toilet in the sense of, perhaps, I don't know, congratulated on a fine performance. David!
No, that's exactly what you said to me one time when we'd agreed to meet up. So I kind of gave up after that. I thought, I can't compete with that.
Well, actually, you could.
I'm not offering that kind of hand of friendship to you.
Perhaps the hand of friendship should now be coated in some kind of lubricant, David. Perhaps then it would be more willingly received.
What I did was innuendo, and you just made it not innuendo.
How is tossed off in a toilet
like
innuendo?
You made it like a late carry-on film. It was just now sex and no real innuendo anymore.
Well,
Anyway, I'm glad to know you're in Hawaii.
Yes.
And I'm glad to know your film career is taking off.
It's going ever so well, David. Yeah, I think I might be quite the film actor.
Are you good in the Centrinians film?
I think I'm quite good in that Centrinians film. Yeah, it's a sort of...
Quite good. We'll put that on the poster. I'm quite good in it, Russell Brand. If that doesn't sell tickets, I don't know what will.
I don't know what could drive people into a cinema more greedily than the prospect of me being quite good in a film. It's difficult, actually, David, and I think you'd have struggled with this because there were, some of the actresses were women in their early 20s dressed in school uniform looking very sexually attractive. Then there were girls that were, sort of in different sort of down the pyramid of the ages, all the way down to sort of 14-year-olds dressed in school uniforms. Well,
let's not linger on those ones. But what I would say is that in the old Centrinians films, they only had 8-year-olds and 28-year-olds.
To make it, there was no
between because it'd be too confusing. Because the 28-year-olds were meant to find sexy, and the 8-year-olds were just bratish.
Right, yeah.
It'd be very confusing, wouldn't it, if they were sort of 15 or 16?
Yeah, I think that, perhaps they've
Do you think we should be airing this conversation, or do you think this would be a private conversation we should be having?
I think, were we having this conversation privately, David, we should feel a deep sense of shame. But nonetheless, Centrinians is a very good film, and I urge you to go and see my quite good performance in it.
I will. I have a couple of other friends in it, and I'm very, very excited to see it.
David...
But it isn't all about you, is it? There's my life as well.
Right, now come on then. What's happening in your life? You went to Australia. You didn't hang yourself like dear Tony Hancock. You've come back to fight another day, to continue bringing us comedy. What are you going to be doing?
Well, we went off to Japan after Australia. We did some promotion out there because our DVD was coming coming out there, which was an amazing kind of culture shock.
Really?
Very strange, because we were on some sort of Japanese TV shows where they don't speak any English. So it's extraordinary.
What do they do? What do they say to you? What do they do?
Well, you have an interpreter, but it's very hard because it's such a totally different culture that it's very hard to actually kind of work out what's going on at all. But we had a brilliant time, and then really we've been back writing because we're putting together a show for American TV, so we're doing that at the moment.
Well,
we're like you, we're going stateside. For you, it's more that things didn't really work out in England, and you've sort of left the country. For us, we triumphed so greatly that we have to move on.
David, I can see that you're a little bitter that I've leapfrogged you in this fashion into the film industry. But you know, as a previous Best British Newcomer at the Comedy Awards, I thought you might be very happy for me and my new successes.
No, I am very happy. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And I love you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate
I just wish you'd sort out some of your personal issues.
I'm working on them even now. There are a couple of very loyal Hawaiian people.
And I love you very much because at Christmas you gave me a signed CD from Morrissey.
Yes.
And it just said, Walliams, why, Morrissey. And do you know what? I mean, you say he comes on stage and introduces himself as Russell Brand, and he writes Walliams, why. He clearly has contempt for us.
Do you think he regards us with contempt?
Yes, of course he does.
No!
But we don't even mind, because we just love that he even knows we exist.
Yes, I think, contempt from Morrissey is worth 1,000 other men's love.
At least he knows who we are. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I accept his contempt gladly, greedily, like a whipped dog.
Would you have sex with Morrissey? And I'm not asking this facetiously, but sometimes when you like someone so much, even though, you know, you've maintained you're not gay.
I know, don't talk to me about I've maintained I'm not gay, David.
You've maintained it, you've drawn that line in the sand many times. No, but would you have
no one's querying it.
You love him so much.
Yes, I happily would have sex with Morrissey because I love him so much, whereas you would, David, because it would be just yet another homosexual encounter in your gay, homosexual life, which you conceal from the public out of shame. Like, why don't you and James Corden from History Boys, whose own new sitcom starting soon, snog each other to death in the back of an ill-deserved limo while burglars poop on your settee?
Well, you put me in my place there.
Well, David, you were unfair.
He's gorgeous, though, isn't he, Morrissey? I think he's like Elvis. He's the closest we have to Elvis.
Very much. He's not like a lot of pop stars are versions of their predecessors. You could say that the Rolling Stones and New York Dolls and Oasis are part of one lineage, but Morrissey is his own brand new archetype.
He's instantly iconic. And he sort of means something. Very few people kind of mean something. Just by existing, he means something, you know.
He is a living sign. In his own words, he is a living sign. I think I'm going to make a documentary about him when I come back to England, where my career's going very well in spite of your attacks.
I can't wait for that.
How dare you! I'm gonna interview him.
He might be in it though.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, come and do a talking head interview. Add some perspective. It will merely highlight my own charisma. Of course he will. I'm going to spend time with Morrissey.
Well, can I meet him as well? Because I don't really like it that you've met him and I haven't.
We got on ever so well, you know, David. He described me. He said we were talking about the nature of the artist. And he said an artist is someone who's pursuing his own course, that absolutely has divinity within him, that is constantly pursuing a path and will not let anything get in the way of that. And he said, which is, of course, how you are. There. So Morrissey has described me.
No, because you'll let some fan tossing you off in the toilet get in the way.
and then I said, what do you think of Little Britain? And he said he finds it drab. He didn't say that. He's a very big fan of you and your work, David. And when I asked him to sign that CD, he smiled wryly and twitched as he wrote it.
Oh, it's lovely that he's sort of unobtainable as well, isn't he? He's just sort of out of our reach.
Yes, don't let that affect your personal life, David, because otherwise we'll never see you settle down with any of these beards that you cling to. Like, what I'd hope one day is that you start a lovely family.
I'm so glad you called.
I do apologise. I mean it all with love. Hey, in a sincere and serious manner. Often when I talk, like people say, "Oh, what English comedy are you into?" I talk about you and stuff, and people, "Oh, we love them."
Oh wow, thank you so much.
Very popular over here.
So are you known in America? Are you incredibly famous like Michael Jackson or something?
I'm very over here in America. Yeah, I'm regarded sort of as a Ronald Reagan figure. They're thinking about putting me up on Mount Rushmore and just sort of growing some foliage over the top of it to represent my hair. I've become quite an icon here.
You could become a massive star though, which would be ironic.
How dare you? There will be no irony. It will be simple.
It will be wonderful. It'll be like the Sean McGuire's big in America. It's baffling.
Celebrity Darwinism is what goes on out here. The cream of the crop.
It would be great.
David,
no one deserves it more than you.
Thank you very much. You're a beautiful and lovely and supportive man. David, I'm going to go now. And when you go to Noel Gallagher's birthday, will you please tell him to expect a phone call, no matter how drunk he is? To put it politely.
What, from you?
Yeah, from me.
What, are you going to make him go on your radio show?
Yeah, why shouldn't he contribute? Because
it's his birthday. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Of course he does.
Never met you.
Look at doddering off into old age, ignoring my phone calls. It simply won't do.
He says he hates you.
You're a very poisonous and spiteful man. David, I'll give you a ring. I'll be back home in London soon. We can sort of hold hands and, I don't know, who knows what we could get up to in a lavatory.
I'd like to spend more time with your mother.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you would. She said
I liked her. She was lovely, and she liked me, didn't she?
Yeah, you've hoodwinked her. She thinks you're absolutely lovely and charming, and you did an impression of a gay James Bond once, saying that you'd like to be a gay James Bond. She ate it up, thought it was fantastic. Yeah, she's completely in the dark about the seam of darkness that runs through your core. So, David, I have to go to move this radio show along and give it pace. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much for being a guest, David Walliams. Woo, David there. Bye, love you, bye, mate, bye, bye, love you, bye, bye. There goes David Walliams. That was nice of him to be a guest, wasn't it, G?
Yeah, very good. And he stuck up for Morrissey, which is always a good thing.
Stuck up for Morrissey, there sort of made ghastly implications about me and my own career, which I've found frankly hurtful. But,
how are you really finding it over there?
I miss home. I like it. Hawaii, it's sort of beautiful, and the people that I'm working with are dead lovely, and it's really interesting making a film. But it's like I'm used to doing stand-up and things like this, where it's very immediate. Like, you know, like I can make a remark about getting tossed off in a lavvy, and that's it. It's out there in the world. In films, you have to do things again and again. Yesterday, right, G, I had to do this bit where I've been surfing, and I have a surfing accident with Mike, my double. Mike, the bloke who's been teaching me surfing, is my double. So he's been
the wonderful surf instructor.
Just when I thought Mike couldn't get any more attractive, he became my double, and had to put a wig on to look exactly like me, have stubble put on, so he's like a sort of an older. Yes, it's narcissism, literal narcissism. He became a hunkier sort of version of me, a great big sort of American brute version of me, and that sort of, we were sat next to each other getting our makeup applied. It took every ounce of restraint I had in my body not to just crane across and kiss him on his chest and ask him to cradle me in his arms and breastfeed me. I think those are the photographs of Mike, the surf instructor dressed as me, will appear on the website bbc.co.uk/radio 2. If you want to ring us for a bit of a chat, you can call 0500 288 291, or you can email russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Or why not send a little text message? That's effortless. You could do that in a car or anything. You could do that in the midst of the act of lovemaking, or while putting a new bin bag in your bins. Don't ever mix the act of lovemaking with changing a bin bag, though. Oh, what about when that smell of the bins comes out? What about when the bin coughs at you? There's bin cough! The bin coughed in my face! You can text us on 88291 or all them other numbers I just gave you. Yeah, gee, so I had to have this surfing accident where I'm supposed to have got coral in my leg. So I had this prosthetic sort of attachment to my leg with a pipe feeding into this attachment. It was like having a great wad of wax sort of made up onto your leg, and then in it a pipe went into that wad, then up through my nuts, round up like through past the perineum, and then into sort of like a pumping thing, like, you know, perfume that might have been on your nan's dressing table that had like sort of a thing that you squeeze to spray perfume.
That little squeezy thing.
That's it. That little squeezy thing, G, put it in a poem. They're called squeezy things. Like, one of them, all full up with blood, and then at the appropriate moment, I have to be carried out in the arms of Jason Segel, the lead actor who wrote this film, who's from the American sitcom How I Met Your Mother. Right, he carries me out, then dumps me down the beach. Then Paul Rudd, who was Phoebe's husband, or boyfriend, out of Friends, and also he's in Anchorman, right, he comes over, and I'm all going, my leg. I can't talk too much about the details, but I'm doing acting, is what I'm doing.
Acting
and I
away.
have to do the acting away, mate, again and again. I got all sand in my bodily crevices. Sand can get anywhere, you know. It stays there for ages as well. I was like the Sandman, in fact, from Spider-Man 3.
Good
is
reference.
What I resembled. Yeah, it's a good reference.
Good reference. You
and
know,
also,
I like those references.
You like it. You live in a comic book world, don't you? You can't cope with reality.
I can't. I'm a nutter.
If you could cope with reality, you wouldn't be a poet, would you? And so, and by the end of the day, yeah, all my, you know, without being rude, my ball bags and perineum were soaked in blood and sand, and like, you know, and taking off my sort of swimming trunks and pants at the end of the day, and seeing the normally that glorious moment where I gaze down lovingly at my genitalia and salute the general with warmth and dignity. That was tarnished, G. He winks back, often rears up and tries to greet me. That was like a loving hound on your return home. That moment was marred. Okay, so we're gonna listen to the Ramones now. Baby, I love you. Later on, Baby, I love you. But later on in the show, we're gonna be talking to Mighty Boosh's Noel Fielding. In many ways, my sort of spiritual performance twin. Some would argue.
He's really, really good. I've just got the Mighty Boosh live. I've
He's
been
not
watching.
that good. He's all right. He's all right.
Good. Nah, he's different. That silver suit and he's hectic.
Yeah, he's hectic, you know. He's got a very surreal and unusual mind.
Yeah.
Even the most
Almost
mundane
poetical.
things. He's a I mean, yes, you could argue that. No, he's a very brilliant comedian. He's going to be on the show later. I might try and ring up Reece Shearsmith and all out of League of Gentlemen. He's a good person to have a laugh with. I like him. He's the one that does Papa Lazarou among many of the other characters in League of Gentlemen. Also, though, we want to talk to listeners. So if you are listening to this show now and fancy a bit of a chat, do phone with some sort of agenda, though. I want to know about that case arc. What else is going on in England, G? Is there anything else I should know about? Harry not going to war. We talked about that a bit last week. That was a little bit annoying. Noel Gallagher wants to become mayor. Come on, be serious. Give us a ring on 0500 288 291. But before, you know, do it now, and then after the Ramones, we'll have a chat. So here they are, the Ramones. Baby, I love you. Russell Brand, BBC Radio 2. You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. That was the Ramones, Baby, I Love You. I'd like to dedicate that particular song to my employer at Radio 2, Leslie Douglas, who has been nothing but understanding of me. And, you know, there are times you'll find this difficult to believe if you're listening to this radio show at home, that I can be a little bit difficult to work with. Would you imagine that? No, G, I'm serious. Do you remember me before when I used to be a junkie, G? Oh, them were the days.
I do remember those days.
Do you remember that?
You know what's funny? Like, people, like, try to forget those days, but you always bring them back in.
I dragged them days up. Do you remember that time, G, when we were doing a poetry night in Brixton and I flashed my bum at them crack dealers?
Yep. And I do remember.
Them were the days.
Exactly. We almost all got shot.
There you go. You've got to take the rough with the smooth in life. Okay, if you want to text us to talk about anything. Who done that case arc? Who done it? 88291. That's if you want to text us. You can email us at russell.brand@bbc.co.uk, or you can just ring us up on 0500 288 291. Obviously, we can't take all of your phone calls, but bloody hell, I half appreciate them. I've been lonely out here in Hawaii. I mean, yes, it is interesting to be a pseudo-transsexual for a while, wearing a grass skirt and a coconut bra, singing the bare necessities, feeling yourself through the grass, through the reeds, you know, but after a while you need Mowgli, you need Bagheera, even that sort of enchanted-eyed snake, none of whom were in Hawaii, but nonetheless, you know what I mean, it's the same sort of theme. Now, we've got a caller on the line, I believe she is called Sharon. Sharon, hello.
Hi, Russell.
Well, hello, darling, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I've got a bit of a cold, actually, and a bad throat. But
You got a cold and a bad throat? Stop the world! Sharon's got a cold and a bad throat. Oh, no, don't worry about me doing a radio show live from Hawaii in the middle of an industrial estate, bullets flying past me head, people offering me crystal meth every 5 seconds. You've got a bit of a cold and a bad throat. Do you think it might...
it's not too bad then, is it?
No, it's not, is it, Sharon? Let's put it in perspective.
No.
Do you think it's because of your lifestyle?
Well, I think it's probably to do with the miserable weather in Cornwall at the moment.
You're in Cornwall?
Yeah.
What's it like? It's nice there because you can go surfing. Like I'm learning how to surf. I'm bad at it because it requires dignity, poise, and balance, and these are qualities that I lack. Can you surf?
No, I can't. No, I must admit, I've done a little bit of bodyboarding in the past.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I
bet you have, Sharon. I bet you've done some bodyboarding. I bet that's why you've got that sore throat in it, love. Bodyboarding. Yeah. What are you ringing us up for? What have you been doing with your life?
Well, we've rung up. I mean, really...
Who's we? There's only one of you.
My daughter has pestered me to ring up.
Has she?
Because... at Christmas, you know, you were on that, the quiz, big fat quiz of the year.
With Noel Fielding, who's going to be on the show later.
Fielding,
yes.
Yeah.
David Walliams, who's already been on the show, was also on. Yes, I'm listening to you, Sharon, yes.
Right, I'll carry on.
Yes.
So, yeah, when you were on that quiz of the year, you said something about, one of the answers you used was pieces of rainbow.
Pieces of rainbow, yes.
Yeah, do you remember?
I believe Noel made that up, not me, but still, it was funny.
That phrase, and at the time I was kind of going through a bit of a bad time.
Oh, Christ.
And so we used to text each other it, because she's doing her A-levels at the moment, so we used to just text pieces of rainbow to each other, because we thought it was a really nice saying.
Yeah.
And anyway,
so I think actually what it was... Sharon, shut up! Sharon, shut up! Sharon, stop talking when there's another person talking! Sharon! She's mental! Is she actually mad? Sharon!
So we wanted to
Sharon!
and let Noel know as
Sharon, can she hear me? Can you hear me when I'm speaking, Sharon?
Yeah.
Well, stop when I'm talking, you lunatic! You can't just keep talking.
I couldn't hear you speaking then.
Well, I was talking. Sharon, please, for heaven's sake, you're like a conversational bulldozer. What would happen if you're working in a children's care home or something? Here, I'm nervous. Hear me. Shut up, you're doing it again.
Can't I tell you where
Sharon, shut up. You're doing it again, Sharon.
I work with people who have drug and alcohol problems.
I'm not surprised. I bet they were all right when they met you. I bet they started banging up the day you came to work. I'm reaching for me works now, love. I'm trying to cook up a fix even now. I've been talking to you 5 minutes. Don't take drugs. Drugs are bad. Never take drugs. Drugs are evil. Sharon, so that was a response to a question. I think we were asked some question about the year's events, and me and Noel came up with wine gums, children's dreams, and pieces of rainbow, some such surrealist banter, and you have committed to that to the point where you've had it tattooed where on your body?
On the top of my arm. The rainbow kind of goes over the sort of the top bit of your shoulder bit of your arm.
Right, the shoulder bit of the arm,
We
right.
text you a photo of it.
All right. Well, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I'm doing a radio show and I ain't got time to look at your texts of rainbows from a mad woman who drives all her colleagues to drug addiction. Listen, Sharon, why don't you email it to Russell at bbc.co.uk oh no, that ain't it. Russell.brand@bbc.co.uk, right? And we'll stick it up on the website if that'll calm you down for 5 seconds. Might save the lives of a few
I tell you
junkies.
what will calm me down, Russell.
Go on.
Will you tell Noel about it though?
No way. No way. Me and Noel Fielding have got a lot to talk about. Gee, don't support this woman. She's mad. She's insane in the membrane.
I'm not mad. Honestly, I'm not mad.
Listen, love, you're bonkers. You got bats in the belfry. When Noel Fielding comes on, Noel will go, "Oh, do you remember that quiz of the year we done?" And I'll go, "Yeah, I do remember it." He goes, "Oh, what about that pieces of rainbow?" And I go, "Yeah, that was good." Hey, Noel, so what's up? I'm just going to completely change the subject. Nobody's talking about your rainbow tattoo. All your colleagues are junkies now. Yeah. Oh, baby, crystal meth in Hawaii ain't enough to provide for your work colleagues.
Yeah, well, we've got a crystal meth problem in Cornwall as well at the moment.
I'm not surprised. I've got one since the beginning of the conversation. Crystal meth, awful drug. Don't take any crystal meth. Sharon, thank you for your call. I will, of course, mention it to Noel Fielding. I'm only mucking about. I'm sure he'll be flattered.
And we will send you a photo of it. We'll email it.
All right,
and also,
dear.
we came to see you when you did the Teenage Cancer Trust thing, and you and Noel were brilliant.
I'm beginning to think you're actually a Noel Fielding fan, using my radio show as a platform for your affection.
My daughter absolutely loves you, and I do love you as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
I do love Noel Fielding as well.
Yeah.
I love both of you.
Thanks.
My daughter is
That's all right.
Russell Brand
fan. The fact that we've had a culture of 2,000 years of monogamy, there's no reasoning behind that. People get jealous. You can't have both. Take your pick. I'll tell you what happened. Me and Noel Fielding will do a version of The Girl Is Mine by Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney singing it. Instead of singing The Girl Is Mine, we'll say, "That tattooed, crazed bulldozer of a woman is mine," is what we shall sing.
Well,
How about that?
I would like to be both of yours. That would be...
Well,
Wonderful.
perhaps then send a photograph of not only the top of your arm, but your entire upper body, and we'll make a decision based on that. I'm sure Noel will be up to it. Sharon, thank you very much for your call, my darling.
Okay, Russell, and we're coming up to that pub in Camden soon, so I shall show you then.
I'll be busy.
I know you might be back.
I don't go pubs, I'm a recovering drug addict. Bye, Sharon. Right,
Bye, love you, Russell.
Thank you.
Noel, bye.
Thank you, bye. Right, it's just for people working in London, when I go bye at the end of a call, I don't expect to hear any more from Sharon ever again. Right, so when I go bye, Sharon, take that as a cue. I mean, I shouldn't do this bit on air, really, but that bit where I go bye, Sharon, just cut Sharon out of my life, really, in all honesty. I like Sharon. She's a good woman, and I'm going to fulfil that thing. She was nice, wasn't she, G?
Yeah, you know, yeah, Noel's a genius.
But Liz, what's it?
Ooh.
Okay, we're going through the sidekicks this month. It's the month of 1,000 sidekicks. Okay, Mikey, let's go. You're in the chair. Write a poem. Okay, so if you want to send us an email, it's russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. You can call us on 0500 288 291. Noel Fielding will be on the show a little bit later if you've got any questions for him, or perhaps you'd like to make me feel insecure by using my show essentially as a way of communicating with him. I've got a lovely email here from Samantha in Greenwich, London. She goes, hello there. I thought you might like to know about the pervy phone calls I used to receive when I worked part-time in a call centre in Kent. I was working for a well-known mail order catalogue company in evenings, answering phone calls from people who either wanted to order stuff from or apply for a catalogue. Oh, catalogues. Do you want anything from the catalogue, dear? Have a look at the catalogue. Oh, I'll just go to the back. The toys are at the back. Oh, it's the toys at the back of the catalogue. And now the bra section. So there, listen. So she goes, it was usually quite a dull job receiving these calls about catalogues and not being the most productive or customer-focused person at the time. Rather than efficiently deal with a caller, and then take them to the next person in the queue, or then get on with the next customer caller, what I would do is unnecessarily put them on hold for extended periods, talk slowly, etc., to avoid doing more work than I had to do. You can therefore imagine how much I enjoyed it when the perv calls came in. I would kick back and read a magazine when they went about their business. Perverts tend to use 0800 numbers. Why pay for your habit, says Samantha. So we got them quite a bit, especially later in the evening. You'd know when they were perverts when the call came in. After we gave them the standard greeting, they would say nothing or breathe heavily for a bit, which is normally what happens if you speak to David Walliams on the phone. We were supposed to hang up on them and then just take the next call, but instead I used to encourage them by asking questions now and again. That's a pervert hitting gold there, isn't it? Right there. If you're a pervert, you're ringing an 0800 number. And instead of going, sorry, we can't help you, and put the phone down, they go, oh, all right, yeah, I've got a neck and I've got sexy feet. That's brilliant. That would provide you with perversions for months to come. Then she continues, this dear lady. God, when they would ask what underwear I was wearing, I'd like to say that I was wearing a polyester lacy thong in the catalogue, and use the catalogue. Oh, that's quite productive, actually. Sometimes you can make these perv calls last for an hour with hardly any words and just a few heavy breaths and a couple of moans. What is a pervert doing on the phone for an hour? Because surely, that's no commitment from that pervert, is it, G?
Did the perverts buy anything from the catalogue?
I just don't know what a pervert needs from life. I mean, I think if you're phoning and...
Don't you,
well, no, it's just there's no grey area there. There's no crossover from my life into the life of a pervert. If you're spending your evenings calling 0800 numbers while engaging in an act of onanism, I mean, you're not going to then think, also, I need some new patio furniture. At the end, after you've finished your business, you can't go, oh, thanks for being so tolerant, love. No, I really like that swing chair, and I'd like some, that spatula and some kitchen utensils. You feel guilty. Right, absolutely. Oh, keep the Sabutio. I love Sabutio. But that was the only sport I was ever good at, and that's because you can do it laying on your stomach, crying that you've got no real friends. Yeah, I like Sabutio because then you can be in charge. On a football field, that is not a place where I achieve dominance and power. But over a Sabutio pitch, I can make little Frank McAvenny do whatever I like. Oh, little Frank McAvenny's giving Tony Cottee a kiss look. I used to be I was a Sabutio god, if I'm honest.
How many games of Sabutio did you go through?
A lot. I ran my own leagues. I didn't play against other people. I just ran my own leagues, tournaments. You know, there were sometimes there were difficulties, disasters, things went on. There were gay marriages. It was very interesting. It was like Footballers' Wives, directed by a 7-year-old boy, pretty much. Okay, listen. If you want to text us, it's 88291, or you can email russell.brand@bbc.co.uk, or alternatively, give us a bell on 0500 288 291. Mr. G, you enjoying being the sidekick for the show today?
I'm missing Matt. Me and Matt have we've been bonding over the last few, I don't know, is it weeks,
Oh, we've been
months?
bonding in the early mornings, have
In
you?
the early mornings. We're like troopers now. Absolute troopers. You know?
Oh, yeah, it's difficult. Get up early one day a week, isn't it? Let me tell you what's difficult, young man. Lying on a beach with blood pumping out your leg while the cast of friends loom over you, shouting. That is difficult, okay? Try that for a lifestyle. Okay, let's listen to Changes by Bowie, because we're going to make some huge changes. Later on the show, we've got Noel Fielding. I might ring up old Reece Shearsmith. We're going to try and ring Noel Gallagher, but he might be too busy at his party. Might even try and ring Matt Morgan, issue his P45 over the blower. Okay. So, if you've got any messages, ring for me. It's russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. But until then, changes. You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. That was David Bowie with Changes. I suppose, like, he is a genius, because I wouldn't think of going, oh, I'm writing this song called Changes, I'll go changes. I'd go, oh, that bit's weird. But it works, isn't it? So that's the nature of genius, you see. People see things that others can't. Okay, so we've got that. Gee, just please, you better be writing a poem as well, because you've got to do a poem at the end of the show.
I'm writing a poem. I just like the way changes. Genius. It's always good.
It is a genius. Russell.brand@bbc. Oh, not dope. Oh, God. Oh, no, not dope. Don't write dope. Russell.brand@bbc. Dot. It's just a dot. That's the simplest thing that exists in the universe, is a dot. The universe began from a dot, it exploded, then the cosmos appeared, and then eventually we'll turn back into a dot, some scientists say. So russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. Everyone knows that it's .co.uk anyway. Why am I wasting my life saying dot to people? You can give us a bell on 0500 288 291. Later on the show, we've got Noel Fielding. Also, guess what? One of our listeners is in a curry house up north somewhere, and they've seen Jimmy Savile having his dinner. So we're going to ring up that curry house and see if we can get Savile on the phone. Let's get Savile, see what he's doing in there. What are you up to, Savile? What about if Tarrant was throwing knives and forks about? I bet Savile, he's lighting cigars, lobbing them, giving out Jim will fix it badges as he sees fit. Now then. I can't imagine what kind of chaos he's creating in there. So we've got young James on the phone. He wants to chat to me about chocolate milk, apparently. James, you all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. You?
Yeah, I'm quite well, as a matter of fact, you know, in Hawaii, sort of coping, doing this film. I've done numerous sex scenes, I've ridden a horse, I've done surfing. There's been a lot's gone on, James. What's going on for you back in Blighty?
Not much. I'm a bit nervous about talking to you on...
Don't be. It's just forget about it, really. That's what I do. That's why sometimes there are links that go on for about 16 minutes with me and David Walliams talking about getting tossed off in lavies, you know, ultimately.
You haven't been tossed off in a lavvy.
Huh? Sorry?
You haven't been tossed off in a lavvy.
I haven't been tossed toffees in a lavvy. That would be a very bizarre way to spend time. I haven't done anything in lavies except what they're intended to be used for. Now, did you really want to talk to me about chocolate milk, James, or was it just, is that how you meet people?
Who doesn't love chocolate milk?
Well, I mean, Cocoa Pops, of course, used chocolate milk as their key selling point, and I think, ultimately, if the people at Cocoa Pops are honest, I think they invented Cocoa Pops, and there was a day in a laboratory somewhere at Nestle or Kellogg's, or wherever it comes from, where someone went... Kellogg's, thank you, James. It's Kellogg's, I can confirm. I reckon what happened was, they goes, oh, well, look, we've invented these Cocoa Pops. Brilliant, lovely, much better than a Rice Krispie because it's all chocolatey, but, oh no, it turns the milk into a sludgy, detritus-filled brown mush. What are we going to do? Surely this will impair the sales of our products. Then someone went, just say that it turns the milk chocolatey. People will like it. They've used it to their advantage. You might as well say, oh, Sunny Delight even turns your child hyperactive-y. You know, well, so delicious it makes your child a Ritalin-requiring wreck of an individual. So, I mean, chocolate milk, while to some degree a good thing, we shouldn't be drinking milk, James, you realise, of any kind.
Why not?
Because it comes out of a cow's boob. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if you had to get it directly, you wouldn't drink it, would you?
I bloody well would. I love milk.
But what, from a cow's udder, though, James? If you had to put an udder in your mouth?
Maybe.
James, how would you get, you know, I mean, I don't want to encourage you, but how would you get the chocolate flavouring if you were drinking it directly from a cow's udder? You know, it would become problematic, in my view. James,
all you've got to do is go down to a shop somewhere,
yes,
get one of those little can things of, you know, powdered chocolate milk,
yes,
put a spoonful of that in your mouth, squeeze and chocolate milk.
James, thank you very much. So any of our listeners that do want to drink chocolate milk, but directly from a cow, you now have that opportunity. James, thank you very much for your call. Okay, now, on this show, we've had a very beautiful, oscillating and undulating relationship with the newsreader, Andrea Simmons, who I, quite frankly, love and adore. She is about to do some news for us now. Andrea, do you remember the good old days when I used to be live and I'd say, oh, could you insert a word into the news? Do you think you could you get chocolate milk into the news, Andrea? Just for old time's sake. Go on, slip it into the news. Not if there's too many tragic stories. But, you know, the one at the end where we go, and on a lighter note, a cat's wearing some shoes. When it gets to that story, go on, Andrea, do it for me. So we're going to have a little bit of news. After that, we're going to be back. We're going to track down Jimmy Savile in a curry house up north somewhere. And we're also going to talk to Noel Fielding. Who knows what else may happen? Give us a ring. Talk to us about your foibles and your problems and your insecurities and your desires. But before that, 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC.
And here is the news now at 10 o'clock. This is Andrea Simmons. And Russell, I'm going to disappoint you, love.
On digital and on 88 to 91 FM. BBC Radio 2. Russell Brand.
You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. That was Birthday by the Beatles, and I'd like to dedicate that to Noel Gallagher on this day, his birthday. Before that, there was the news, wasn't there? And Andrea Simmons, although she didn't do my vile bidding, she did say my name, and I still get a little bit of a kick out of that as it happens. You all right, G?
I'm all right. I was just remembering, do you remember that time when you actually milked a cow? We went to...
No, when did that happen? With the Harry Krishnas.
And they strapped the cow up to that weird contraption and you had to go and milk it.
Yeah, I didn't like that, actually. I used to hang around with the Harry Krishnas a bit. I'm well into them. They're all right. And, like, I went to one of their cow sheds. They worship the cow and think it's holy, right? But they were like, and sort of when they, oh, do you want to worship this cow? Not worship it, milk it. I suggested worshipping it a bit. But, like, they said, don't do it. Not directly. It's more of a metaphor. And, like, so I went up to it, I had to milk it in that. And, like, I don't like touching the cow's boobs because it just feels like the cow won't like it, you know. So, like, then the cow lashed out a little bit with one of its back legs, and that made me nervous. And the bloke who was supposed to be looking after the cows, I remember on the way there, Foshana, the woman that was walking us to the cow shed, was going, oh, the cows are holy in our culture because they represent the mother and the nurturing a relationship between the earth and us, the way that nature nourishes mankind. So the cow is an emblem of that nourishment. That's why the cows, as mothers, will always be holy to us, the Hare Krishna people. And it got there, there was this sort of Russian gangster, tattooed Hare Krishna, looking after the cows, and he was sort of like elbowing it into a stool. Like that, and elbowing it and saying Russian gangster stuff.
I don't think they actually knew that he worked there. Because he was so different to all of the other Hare Krishnas. He was so
I don't know why he was there. I didn't know there was... I mean, the Hare Krishnas, they're a broad and accepting people, but why there would be a tattooed Russian gangster working in their cow shed is a mystery even to me, I must tell you. So, hey, you know that Beatles song that was just on just then, Birthday? Right, you remember once that I talked on this show about when I was in a treatment centre in America and there was a sort of a cuddly toy polar bear and we were in a sort of a meeting talking about addictions in a really serious atmosphere and both going, oh man, I used to have some difficult, crazy times on drugs, it was really bad. And there was this bloke who used to be an ex-copper, like he had this sort of cuddly polar bear with a dunce's hat on and a silvery waistcoat, and in the middle of all this serious atmosphere, people talking about addiction, all really heavy vibe going on. It turned out it was one of those bears realise that if you touch its hand, it plays a song right in the middle of him going, man, there was terrible times, real dark times. Right, this other bloke in the background who's also quite serious touched the bear in the wrong place, not in a abusive way, merely in the wrong place as it kicked it off, and it sang that song. I now realise it went da-na-na-na birthday, da-na-na-na-na, and really undermined the vibe. So to me, whenever I hear that song, I just imagine myself in a treatment centre, surrounded by American junkies, which you were
there for quite a while, weren't you?
I
remember that.
They were dark days, G, but now we're back here. All is well. So,
I've got an email. I've got an email.
Oh, hello. Doing an item.
Yeah,
Mr. G's doing an item.
Yeah.
Come on, let's hear your email.
It's dedicated to you. It's good. Hiya, Russell. Loving the show. Congratulations on being #1 in the podcast charts. I've just gotten married, and me and my husband are listening to your show, and I would love it if you give a shout to us. Love from Gillian and Gavin Milne. So, can you give a shout? I'm getting it wrong. Gillian and Gavin.
Gillian and Gavin, I've just been eating a delicious cashew while hearing about your wedding. And it makes me feel very optimistic and happy that you two have got married. I hope that there don't come a time in about 6 months where you look at each other, Gillian and Gavin, and go, oh, Christ, what have we done? I hate you, Gavin, and I, for my part, loathe you, Gillian. I don't think that is going to happen. I think you two will be united and will remain together in some sort of sexual utopia. Right, now we're going to try and catch Jimmy Somerville while he's at a curry house. Marsha, my erstwhile assistant, give this curry house a ring now. Now, so they don't feel angry with them, we'll say,
it's Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile, not Jimmy Somerville.
Not Jimmy Somerville. Yeah. Oh no, sorry, I was looking at my phone. That's my phone book within my mobile there. Jimmy Somerville.
You explain it away,
Almond.
We'll believe you.
Also, just ring and then put it through the desk when they answer. As soon as they answer, put it through the desk. Okay. Also, I've been told I mustn't say Sunny Delight makes children hyperactive. If you thought it did, you are simply wrong. It doesn't.
Sorry, sir?
Hello there?
Yeah, I can't hear you properly, sir.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, right.
My name is Russell Brand, calling from the BBC Radio 2, in fact.
Yeah, just a second. I'll pass the manager you talk with.
Yeah, give us the manager, you know. I mean, I can't muck around here. We've not got time.
George speaking.
Hello there. My name's Russell Brand. I'm calling from BBC Radio. Hello.
BBC Radio, yes.
That's right. I just wanted to say to you that I think you run a very fine curry house, although
thank you.
I'm sure there are other curry houses in the area that are good as well, but I'm just saying I like your one also. I understand you have rather a special gentleman dining there this evening.
Yes, Sir Jim, yes.
Sir Jim is there, is he?
He is, yes.
I wonder if you'd be so kind. What's your name again? Because I weren't listening properly.
I've just missed that last sentence, I'm sorry.
What's your name, please, sir?
I'm George.
George?
George Humphrey, Humprey.
Thanks, George Humphrey. Right, I've written that down. Now, if there's any nonsense, I've got all the details. You don't mind us calling you like this, do you, George?
No, I don't mind at all.
Thanks, George. You're a lovely fella. Now, I just wondered if you could you just say to Sir Jimmy, just like sort of barge up to him while he's at barge, in the restaurant. No, sorry, that's a rubbish joke. Right, perhaps you could just elbow your way up to him and go to him, Sir Jimmy, Russell Brand's on the phone. Could he talk to you, please, if you're not too busy?
Who's on the telephone? I didn't catch the name.
Russell Brand. I mean, it probably won't matter. I don't know if Jimmy Savile will have heard of me. He might have done, because he was on Big Brother last year, so he might have heard of me. Yeah, Russell Brand, as in Marlon Brando, but imagine Marlon Brando a bit more feminine and with a different name.
And what is it you want to speak to him about?
Just really about anything he likes. The charity work he does, and his dress sense and catchphrases.
Oh, do you want to talk to him live on radio, do you?
If he doesn't mind, I mean, you know, if he's not too busy.
Right, I'll have a word with him, but, you know...
If he says no, George, I'll quite understand, but will you come back and tell us he said no, and tell us what... And ask him... If he says no, will you ask him for a message, but hopefully he'll say yes. Right, there goes George Humphreys, the owner of a very fine curry house.
Very fine.
I'd like to refer to him as a friend and potentially a lover. Now, if this don't work out with Jimmy Savile, I shouldn't get Jimmy Savile and Jimmy Somerville mixed up. Now then, don't leave me this way. I can't survive, I can't stay alive.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, God, he's coming.
Yeah.
Jimmy?
Yes.
So, Jimmy, this is Russell Brand. I'm sorry to interrupt your meal, but
You're not interrupting my meal, Russell, because to talk to a megastar like you is an honour and a pleasure.
Well, sir, I could say the very same thing to you, and I shall. Thank you very much for coming to the phone.
Where are you speaking from?
I'm speaking to you from Hawaii, as a matter of fact. I'm doing
Hawaii?
Yeah, I'm away making...
You've been on the television tonight.
Yeah, that's right, I was. They filmed... I'm over here making a film for Universal Pictures, but I made a little show
Hawaii was on the television tonight, and you're speaking to me from Hawaii.
That's right. That's right, Jimmy. Have you been well? I miss you. You're going to start doing Jim Will Fix It again, aren't you?
No, it finished last Thursday. I did 40 shows.
Wow.
It finished last Thursday, and I'm sitting here with a beautiful lady who can't believe that I'm talking to the one and only, supposedly, Russell Brand.
I am Russell Brand, definitely. Hey, Jimmy, when I was a lad, I did write to Jim Will Fix It, and I wanted to meet Pinocchio. It seems that this request, for some reason, wasn't taken up.
No, Russell.
Yes.
What you didn't do was put it in a stamped envelope.
Oh!
And I thought, what a cheapskate this Russell Brand is. What a cheapskate. And he didn't get it.
You're quite right, Jimmy. I remember now. Next
time, put a stamped envelope in.
Oh, I mean, I could just ask you now if you could. Are you going to be doing any more fixes for anyone?
Of course, I shall be doing fixes long after you're dead.
I believe that to be true. It'd be very nice to meet you one day, Mr. Jimmy Savile, you know.
If you've got a sister, you could meet me by bringing her along.
I mean, I haven't got any sisters, but...
I don't usually meet fellas, but if you've got a sister, that's okay.
I've got a personal assistant called Marsha, and part of her job description is that anyone I demand she greets, meets, massages, she has to do it. She's very attractive, Jimmy.
Well, that's a good start.
What kind of
start? You could send her along to do some research.
Would you like her to wear anything in particular, Sir Jimmy?
I'd actually prefer her to wear nothing.
Right. So you want Marsha, my assistant, to meet you naked? Okay. Well, that's not going to be a problem.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, Jimmy. It's just
the last time I spoke like this was to Father Christmas.
Oh yeah, I never trusted those Father Christmases in Debenhams or other stores. They're available. Oh, I said stores instead of shops. I've been in America too long. I don't trust the Father Christmases you get these days, Jimmy. I think perhaps you should be. I think you're. I've always thought of you as a sort of a Father Christmas figure. You know, solving problems.
I couldn't stand a drop in wages.
Jimmy, it's been divine of you to talk to me in this restaurant. Thank you very much. I wonder, would you pass on my best wishes to your beautiful dinner companion, and perhaps you'd consider coming on the show again in the future?
Who knows? I'm always available, and my beautiful dinner companion will have to remain secret because she is of outstanding beauty.
Ooh.
And as such, if you saw her, you would lust after her.
Particularly if I saw her with you, because that just heightens the sexuality of the situation. Thinking
No, I'm not into threesomes.
But, Jimmy, there was a time when you were the defining voice of the BBC, and perhaps...
I still am.
You are now, you are tonight, but you should be... As well as passing down information, you should be passing along other things, people could argue.
I've never passed anything in my life, I only take.
Jimmy Savile, thank you very much for your call. Hey, Jimmy, could we...
Honour and a pleasure, and in the words of Omar Khayyam,
Woohoo! Jimmy Savile there! My word, what a moment for us all. Perhaps, I wonder if Humphrey is there. We should probably thank Humphrey as well.
I think we got something special for you. Check this out.
That lovely record. I may never have got to, you know, meet Pinocchio as a child, but, you know, that has been more than made up for by being able to chat to Sir Jimmy Savile while he was in a curry house up north. Now, that came about because one of Mikey's mates, who's a BBC engineer, was it in said curry house up north, said, oh, I can see Jimmy Savile over there, belled up Mikey. We thought, oh, let's ring up the curry house and see if it works. And it actually did. Who would have thought that would have worked?
And he did
There's so many times.
He did.
He actually ended it without being asked.
Yeah.
He did the, I don't think I've ever even actually, I thought it was just like a myth, like, Michael Caine's never said, my name is Michael Caine, it was Peter Sellers on an answer phone message. I thought he never actually did it, but there he was doing it.
Amazing.
I mean, I think the real issue now becomes, Marsha, my assistant, having to go up to Leeds fully naked to have sex with him.
She's gonna have to do a lot to pay for that.
that is going to be the most expensive. Marsha, you better get used to that noise, because you're going to be hearing it in your ear hole whilst Jimmy Savile elbows you in the kidneys. Oh, Marsha, I've got a letter here from a young man. It says, perform whatever sex act you like on Marsha. God bless Jimmy Savile. Thank you there, Sir Jimmy. Lovely to talk to him, wasn't it? Gee, that was an interesting breath.
That was great. Do you ever remember there was an episode of Jim Will Fix It where there was this little kid and he wanted to burn money?
I think that sounds like the way you conduct this radio show, essentially throwing away good... Oh, God, no, I don't want to keep burning money.
Because when money gets too old, they take it somewhere and they throw it into this furnace, and he wanted to just burn money. So they gave him stacks and stacks of really old money, and he just threw it into this furnace. And
he sounds like a decadent kid, man.
Exactly, just that... all the other children wanted to, like, go on a ride or do something really, really, like, fun, and he just wanted to burn money, and I just always wondered what happened to him 30 years ago.
I want to know what's happened to that child. If you know what's happened to that child, I suspect he's probably dead. But
I reckon he's dressed as a woman, dating Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, well, you've got to pay for it somehow. OK, so what a lovely moment that was for us, Jimmy Savile. So, keep your calls coming, 0500 288 291, or you can email us, russell.brand@bbc.co.uk. What are we going to... Oh, should we listen to Oasis to celebrate Noel's birthday? I keep trying to ring him, but he's not answering his phone because, well, obviously he's at his own birthday party, but still doesn't really mask the selfishness behind it. Let's play a song for him in case he listens to the podcast and keeps it number 1 as you've been doing, you beautiful, glorious people. Let's play Don't Look Back in Anger because we ain't got importance of being idle. I like that one and all. But let's listen to Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. You're listening to Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. That was Don't Look Back in Anger, of course, for Noel Gallagher on the occasion of his 40th birthday, which is hoovering up all my chums. Walliams are on his way there. Matt's there now, and of course, Noel himself is there. Sorry, I just had to pick a little bit of cashew nut off the microphone. I sometimes like to eat a cashew nut, you know, while I'm doing the show. Helps take my mind off things. Right, so, been a good show so far, isn't it? Walliams, he was fun. Bit sexual. There's always that with Walliams. Jimmy Savile, imagine that just actually happening. That's really amazing. I'm a little bit, I'm sort of a bit, I'm listening to that bit back on the podcast, which you should do and all, because that'll be a good bit, that will. Hey, I want to thank some of you for your glorious gifts. Thank you for sending me gifts at the Turtle Bay Hotel, because I really like it for a couple of reasons, because, as you know, I'm not famous here in Hawaii, which I detest, and it makes me feel a little bit loved, and also because I think that the hotel's a bit rubbish, right? So when they have to keep having to bring me gifts and that, I think they all now know that people care for me, and also it's a bit of extra work for them to do. You should try getting English newspapers out of them. Bleed, Nell, it's murder. So here's some of the people that have sent lovely gifts. Amy in New York City sent me Nightmare Before Christmas, and a silver pendant thing, like with the letter R on it. That's good, because it appeals to my narcissism. Thank you very much. Charlie, is that Charlie, Marsha, does that say?
Charlie with no E.
Charlie with no E. She's not got an E. Charlie with no... Marsha, you're very confident for a woman who's should be packing her bags with nothingness because she's off to have naked, nude encounters with Jimmy Savile. You sent me a turtle picture and a Lurcher article. Oh, yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. And Pippa and Louise, a photo of themselves declaring love. I appreciate that. It was very tasteful, nothing unusual. And, yeah, that woman who sent me the Dalai Lama book, who's that? Sohiri? Oh, Sohir. I don't know quite how to pronounce your name, love, but thanks for that Dalai Lama book and for nice Ghostbuster toys and the Stay Puft Man out of Ghostbusters as well. That was a really good gift. I've been, like, to tell the truth, in my loneliness, I've started to use that much how Tom Hanks started to use that football in the film Castaway. I talked to it about my problems, and I'm ashamed to say one night I drew little knickers on it and made it give me a cuddle. And Sheila, you sent me brilliant things. Sheila, I think you came on the phone back with your dogs once. You sent me pictures of the West of Upton Park. That was lovely to see that. I've missed West Ham so much. I've missed the climactic end of the season. That's been heartbreaking for me. And a nice West Ham limited edition print and a Richard Pryor book, which actually I already had. But thank you for that. G gave me it. Is that Pryor Convictions? You gave me that, didn't you?
Oh,
mate?
yeah. Wow, you got so many gifts. We get nothing here.
You don't deserve gifts.
Nothing.
Don't try and angle for gifts, mate. You get the honour of writing poems on the radio. Lovely. So, you know, me, I'm out here. I've got nothing. Oh, someone sent me some green and black chocolate. That was wild. Thank you for that as well. I really appreciate all your gifts. I can only urge you to continue sending me gifts because it means a lot more to me than it would do in England. Them gifts are glorious. Also, people at the RussellBrandFansite.com, I appreciate your love and warmth and loyalty. You're lovely bunch. I sound like I'm like delivering some eulogy at the end of my own life, but you know, I'm actually feeling very well and this film's going alright. I think everything will be okay. And also thank you for that What We Love About Britain book from Elia and Sarah and Ruth. That was really good as well. So, they sent me this thing, all the things they love about Britain, with sort of photo montages of tea bags and stuff like that. Yeah. Right, so but now let's get into the present, for Christ's sake. We can't linger in the past like once we did as British people. I've just had an email here saying that that boy off Jimmy Savile that burnt the money as he's Fix-It, said he wanted to burn money, is most likely behind the Cutty Sark burning. Well, who sent that email? Well, whoever you were, that is a very apposite and brilliant email, and I thank you for it. Now, we've got a caller on the line. Her name is Sue. Earlier on, we was talking about perverts ringing up 0800 numbers, which, you know, because there's them 0898 numbers. As a younger man, as a younger pervert, I'd ring those 0898 numbers, but they're very frustrating. And when I was young, I think there must have been different laws, because it would take ages from actually to get round to talking about any sex. They'd just go, "Oh, hello, thanks for calling the line. I'm feeling hot right now." Just euphemistic stuff. They never actually go, "Right, let's go. I've right away. Woohoo! Look at my bum." It was always like suggesting sex, and I would always be in my nan's toilet with the phone cord stretched under the door, my trousers and pants down, all teenage and desperate, no joy in my life, thinking, "Oh, come on, give me some sex to cling to. Russell, you've been a long time in that bathroom. What you doing there?" "Nothing, grandmother. Leave me alone. I can't have a life like this." I once got so angry that I wrote something on the wall in lipstick, sort of as a dirty protest, and then really, as soon as I'd done it, I thought that was a stupid thing to do, and I had to like wipe the lipstick off, but there was grooves in the wallpaper, so I had to like pick it out of a pin. I was in that bathroom ages, and they were already worried about me. Then I cut my own fringe too short. Oh, my childhood was ridiculous. Right, we've got a caller on the phone who's also used to contending with perverts. I believe her name is Sue. Are you there, my love?
I am, yes.
Sue, you've been really patient, because I went on for a little while there, didn't I, darling?
You did.
Well, so what have you phoned to talk to us about here on BBC Radio 2?
Well, it was just, I used to work in a video shop.
Yeah, was it alright working in there? Because I think, because you can watch the videos.
No, it was rubbish.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Well, you could only watch PG-rated films.
Boring!
Yep, exactly.
Did you do porn in there?
No.
No, fair enough.
No, it's all rubbish.
Yeah, okay, so how did you pass the time, just watching PG-rated films?
Yeah, things like Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, good. Many will remember the brilliant ZX Spectrum version of the theme tune from earlier weeks. Also, E.T. was probably there, was it? Did you watch E.T. sometimes?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, why don't you remember every single film you watched while working there?
It was a long time ago.
Did anything else brighten up your time while working there, Sue?
Yeah, well...
I'm expertly leading you to the topic of for which you've phoned. I'll just do it again. I just wanted people to notice what I'd done. So, did anything else happen while you were there, Sue?
Yes.
What is that thing? Say it now down the radio!
I got a pervy phone call.
What? Perverts ringing you, Sue? A woman trying to earn a living in the video library? What happened?
Well, it was a very busy Saturday night. There was loud music playing.
Yes.
And I answered the phone, and the guy said...
Go on, be careful, because this is, the BBC and everything, so, bear that in mind. Go on.
Do you have sexy feet?
Oh, that dirty pig. Do you have sexy feet, though, Sue?
Well, I don't know. I've never looked.
Well, have a look, darling. What's concealing them? They're them things on the end of your legs with the toes. The one what went to market, the one what stayed at home, and the one what had roast beef. Them's your feet, dear. Have a quick look at them.
Yes, they're sexy.
Nice. Right, okay. Yeah, then he goes, do you have sexy feet? What did you say?
Hold on and I'll check.
Right, yes.
Because there was some very silly titles of videos at that time.
Oh,
so
right, I see. You thought it might have been a film called Sexy Feet. But you wouldn't have been able to watch that in the shop anyway, because, it would never have been PG, a film called Sexy Feet. A film called Funny Feet, about them ice lollies that used to be the shape of feet. That could have been a big hit. But why would you want an ice lolly the shape of a foot for? What kind of pervert for that? Probably the same man that was ringing you up, saying, oh, have you got sexy feet, was probably making ice lollies in the shape of feet. And I would not like to speculate on what the ingredients were, Sue. I really wouldn't. That's what I'm saying, is that I wouldn't like to, and I'm not going to. So, alright, unless you've got anything else to tell me about your life, who do you reckon burnt the Cutty Sark down?
Probably the guy that phoned me.
Yes, probably sat at home, making funny feet. You can't also, without being overly crude, if you are a pervert, have you got sexy feet? I can't imagine... That's not going to keep anyone on the line long enough to achieve anything of any real climactic glory, to use elegantly couched euphemisms, is it?
He did go on and say other stuff, but I can't remember what it was, and I put the phone down on him quick.
Where are you, Sue, in the world?
I'm in Scotland.
Whereabouts?
Elgin.
Elgin?
Yeah.
Where's that in relation to...
in Aberdeen.
Well, all right, fair enough. You all right up there?
Yeah.
Good. Do you want to cuddle?
I do.
Well, if I weren't here, ensconced in tropical lunacy in Hawaii, I'd give you a right cuddling, just to cheer you up. Not in a pervy way. I'd put on a big, daft duffel coat and wellies and cuddle you. It'd be like getting a snog off Paddington. Sue, thank you very much for coming on the line. I appreciate it. What, darling?
Russell, before you go...
Yeah, go on.
The forum sends you actual love.
Actual love from the forum. I send actual love to them as well. Not some other kind of love, not love that's just a phrase, but actual love, the divine unifying force that's within us all, and that will one day lead us to a glorious revolution. Yes, there shall be a revolution. Thank you, Sue, for your call. Take care, my darling. See you later. Bye, love you. Bye, love you. Bye. Oh, there goes old Sue. Later on, we're going to be talking to Noel Fielding, but before that, why don't we listen to New York Dolls. This is Dance Like a Monkey from New York Dolls. Right, remember, they were really good 20, 30 years ago, whatever, then they've done this song, still good, and half of them have died of drugs since then. Dance Like a Monkey, New York Dolls. Dance Like a Monkey, New York Dolls. This is Russell Brand on BBC Radio 2. I've got some interesting emails here. This one's from Rosie W. Oh, God, that's worrying. It's not, as long as it's not Rose W, i.e. Rose West. Right a minute, I don't need that. Hello. Oh, Rose! I can't keep this up, dear. I'm busy. Hello there, chaps. Congratulations on getting back to #1 spot on the podcast chart. Thank you very much. I'm currently revising for my exams. Revising is inverted commas. Do your revision, young Rosie W. She's revising for her exams. I'm listening to the show on the internet, and this story about the boy leaving the hamster on the windowsill of a hotel reminded me about something we did in science a bit ago. Yeah, last week we were talking about some lad in Barcelona, went down Las Ramblas, bought an hamster, then left it on his hotel windowsill. We wanted to get our show servant, Mr. Nibs, to go out to Barcelona and rescue it back, but I don't know if we've got the details. Mikey, who's back from his anger management course, but says, I can't talk on the air because I got a snotty nose and I'm deaf in one ear, is what he said in his accent. know, we can't talk to him. Oh, I'm a wee bit deaf to me, who said help me. And also, his anger management's not helped. He's never been so raging. He comes to work, right, he's wearing a tie, a really neat shirt, and a blazer, but no trousers and pants. It's disgusting to wait. And let me tell you, we don't like him when he's angry. He's worse than the Incredible Hulk. So, yeah, let's try and get that hamster back. I wanted to send Mr. Nibs out to Barcelona to rescue that hamster. It's probably still on the windowsill, probably developing all sorts of complexes, chattering away to itself in Catalan. I'm worried sick about it. But anyway, Rosie W. continues in her email. We were doing an experiment with acids. Oh, acids, that's pluralised, because I've done some experiments with acid, and one of them led me to chip a tooth, and others of them made me think that I might be Jesus and that there should be a revolution. I now don't think I'm Jesus, but I'm still well up for this revolution. So keep listening to the show, because right, remember, we're going to interview both Gordon Brown and David Cameron, right? See which one we like best. Personally, I think they might both be duplicitous illusionists keeping us spellbound and stupid when we should be looking for a spiritual revolution of our own within ourselves. But we'll keep working on that, because I've only got I've not done enough work on the revolution. I don't know, for example, who would empty the bins and what would happen if you say you found there was hedgehog in your garden and it had laid eggs, and then them eggs all hatch in your garden. You think, oh, get the council, and then you ring up the council and they go, oh, hello, we're all one, man. You'd go, well, what about these hedgehog eggs? And then the council might go, well, hedgehogs don't lay eggs, so you're wasting our time. Let's get on with this thing. We are doing an experiment with acids, says Rosie W. But none of us understood what we were actually supposed to do, not even our teacher. So the teacher left the room to find out what was supposed to do with this acid. We all got bored because he was gone for 10 minutes. Because you're a child, so you get bored really quickly. I'm bored! I've got to do something! Someone give me a penguin biscuit! Help me! What's this glue do? Never sniff glue. Okay, so we were left for about 10 minutes, and he had some goldfish that he had bought from home and was going to show the first years. You're not even first years, you lunatic children. So he wondered what would happen if we poured hydrochloric acid into the water of the goldfish. So we got the most gullible person in the class to do it by telling him, do you remember the most gullible person in the class? Who was it in our school? What was his name? Tom Maidel was a little bit of a daft lad. Who else was there? Probably shouldn't name him. He was a nice boy, really. But yeah, there's always one, isn't there? Hold on, I was him! I was that kid! They're always making me pour acid into the goldfish! Yeah, bless him. So anyway, they get the most gullible person in class to do it by telling him it would make the fish grow extra eyes and tails. He thought it would turn into a superhero because of what happens in comic books when people are exposed to radiation.
And
they
we always
develop
believe those comic
superpowers.
books.
We believe those comic books, G.
And they lie
That's
to
a
us
very bad
every single
comic books
time.
lied to us. If you are exposed to radiation and you're in the vicinity of a spider, all your teeth will fall out, your hair will fall out, and you will die. You will not develop superpowers. You must bear this in mind. You'd become a superhero called Coughing Up Blood Man. That's all that would happen to you. So, anyway, so they've told this poor gullible lad that he's going to give the fish superpowers. Our teacher came back and noticed the fish were floating on the top of the tank, and we thought we'd got away with it because he said it must have been the shock of the car journey into school because he's a bit stupid. That teacher sounds like a bit of an idiot, doesn't he? But I remember actually, I once took my rabbit down to a goldfish shop once. I didn't want to be on my own. I was going down to the newsagents, right? And I thought I'll be bored if I go to the newsagents on my own. So I'll take this rabbit that I had with me. I thought the rabbit is my pet, he'll bloody well do as I tell it. So I just put it in my jacket, took it to the shop with me, and then it just died. Just laid on the floor, kicking and staring and that, the way animals do. And you realise that they're not like us human beings. They can't communicate. Horrible moment, really. And then it died. But I told my mum that it had the fit at home, and then I took it to the fish shop to get a second opinion. And then my mum never bothered to go, why'd you take it to the fish shop for? They are experts only in the creatures of the sea. So anyway, the teacher goes, The teacher says that he thought that it was the shock of the car journey, but then we started doing pH testing different chemicals because that's what that class was about. And our teacher said how water was pH 7 and the universal indicator would turn it green. And he said that seeing as how the fish were dead, he might as well show us how the indicator worked, poured it into the fish tank, but because it had acid in it, the water went red, and we almost got away with it till someone said, and I bet it was that gullible kid, but the fish aren't bleeding. He then saw sense and remembered that he could not ever trust us, but we were not totally evil because we all took the blame instead of letting the gullible kid take it all. It wasn't that bad, really. He didn't know how to punish us, so he made us watch a video about animal cruelty at dinner time. Oh, he's that nice teacher that don't know how to do discipline. I like those
you're a bit
ones.
like you in children.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, don't do that, darling. Oh, put that down. Can I have some cigarettes? Oh, all right, yeah, but, you know, you should know that smoking is bad for you. I don't care. Bugger off! Oh, all right, it's doing it. Can I smash that thing? Oh, yes, all right then. Yeah, I have got a substitute teacher.
Remember that time when we took those kids, like all those kids out, was it ice skating? And then we took them to a restaurant, and they started getting hyperactive, and you didn't know how to control them, and I had to get all like, dominant on them.
You were good, mate. You were a good father figure. Me and G, he got heavy with them. Me and G took these kids. I think might have been trying to seduce one of their mums, wasn't I? And like,
you can't mention that.
She was all fit though, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
Right,
really
fit. So he goes, "Oh, we'll take all your kids out," and we don't even know about 10 minutes. We took all these kids out. There's loads of them, weren't there, G?
Yeah, because I think the deal was, I think, like 3. And then, like, I don't know.
All their mates wanted to come.
The whole Red Hand gang came along. And then we took them around to Matt's house afterwards, and they started wrecking his place.
Yeah, I like that bit. That was the highlight for me. Those kids trashing Matt's joint. Yeah, and then at the ice skating thing, I can't ice skate. I don't like doing things that involve balance, e.g. surfing, horse riding, other things I do in this film, forgetting Sarah Marshall. Yeah, they're right little, they were naughty, those children. And we took them to some chicken restaurant, Nando's, other restaurants are available.
But they weren't in those chicken restaurants.
They were wrecking it, weren't they?
Absolutely, because I think they offered, is it free ice cream or something? And then you said, okay, you can just have just one lot of free ice cream, and then they just kept on going for more and more and more and more, and then I just had to put an end to their ice cream jollies.
You've done well there, mate. But what I remember is how I was as a child. I just think, childhood's a pain in the arse. Just let them be happy. Let them do what they want, as long as they're not directly hurting themselves or others. And if they are, then let them do that for a little while before stepping in. But it's hard being a parent. I feel
do you know what makes me laugh about that email is the fact they just keep referring to the gullible kid, the gullible kid. I bet you now they don't even remember what his name is. He's the gullible kid. You know?
That's it for him. Now, his identity is built around being that gullible kid. Hey, so listen, we're going to talk to Noel Fielding in a little bit for the last bit of the show. Wow, because we're live, so we mustn't muck around. All right, G, put on a song that ain't too long. Do Surprise, Surprise by the Stones. I'll ring up Noel Fielding now. We'll wrap this show up, because we've got to get your poem in as well, because we're live. I hope that poem's not rubbish, G. Let's hear Surprise, Surprise, Rolling Stones. Surprise, surprise, the Rolling Stones there. This show's nearly over. I think, Marsha, are you on the phone to Noel Fielding? Right, Noel Fielding's going to be chatting to us in a matter of moments. Hey, I wanted to mention to you, look, when I get back from Hawaii, I'm going on tour with a stand-up. I'm going to Ireland. So if you're an Irish person in Ireland or English person or whatever person you are, but you happen to be in Ireland, come see me do stand-up over there, right? Because I think there's some tickets left and I want you to come and see me. It's going to be very important. There'll be a lot of improvisation, all new material, and an awful lot of destructive, sexy behaviour. But let's not go on about that. If you want to know more about it, go to russellbrand.tv or, I don't know, find out. Look at my MySpace page, do what you like. It's up to you, really. I can't control that aspect of your life. Now, very importantly, we've got a very important, sexy little guest on the line. Why, it's Mighty Boosh's Noel Fielding. Are you there, mate?
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm quite good, thanks, mate. I'm in Hawaii and everything. It's sort of unusual. Are you all right?
Yeah, it's like you described it as a tropical prison earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I do describe it as a tropical prison, and the sort of the guards are turtles and whales.
I love turtles.
You like to, mate? I think you're in a bad signal area. Where are you? I'll hazard a guess. You're out somewhere in Camden, North London, are you?
No, I'm in my flat actually.
What are you doing in your flat, mate?
I'm about to go DJ, but I'm just getting ready. I'm in my pants.
Well, oh, nice. A lot of our listeners will be very pleased to hear that, because a lot of them regard you as a sex object, Noel.
What, like a sex object?
Yeah, just like a phallus-shaped tube, really. Just a sexual object.
Like a vase?
Yeah, very much like a vase, but instead
not
of...
a sex symbol, just a sex object.
Yeah, not even a symbol. It's not like you represent sex in an abstract way. You're just an object, that is it. Noel?
Yeah?
Remember when we was on that big fat quiz of the year?
Yeah.
One of the questions, one of the answers we gave, we mentioned pieces of rainbow. Now, I think it was you that thought of that particular bit of the answer. Do you remember that bit?
Yeah, pieces of broken rainbow.
Pieces of broken rainbow. I just was speaking to a woman on air a minute ago. Her name was Sue, I think. She was proper eccentric. She told me she's had a rainbow tattooed on her arm and pieces of rainbow written, tattooed on her. She's committed to life to that idea.
No way.
She's done it, Noel. It's there. It's part of who she is now.
Oh my God. It's not even pieces of rainbow, it's pieces of broken rainbow.
So she's got a misquote tattooed on her body.
Got that for life.
That's like, if you say that woman, obviously, quiz of the year is her religion, right? And that was just one of the psalms from her religion, and she's got it misdone. It's like if you're a Christian having, let there be loads of light tattooed on your arm, or blessed are the meek man.
Let there be lamp.
Yeah, let there be lamp. She's tattooed a misquote on her arm.
That makes it even better in a way.
Yeah, she's done her own thing with it, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's taking it on.
What are you going to wear tonight, Noel?
Well, I'm just having a look now. I've got this sort of Evil Knievel jacket.
Evil Knievel jacket, eh?
Yeah.
And
then I've got some chainmail trousers. That might be medieval.
Medieval Knievel. That sounds like a beautiful costume. Oh yeah, be him. And then, but what for footwear? That's perhaps if you could wear like cathedral-shaped slippers, then you could be Cathedral Medieval Knievel, and maybe that would top it.
I have got cathedral-shaped feet, so...
That doesn't surprise me to learn that. Yeah, dress yourself up in things that rhyme with evil, but then... But then be a prophet for good. Don't become... Why did Evil Knievel have the name Evil Knievel? Because he weren't evil, was he?
No, he was nice, wasn't he?
He was really nice. He jumped over things, he dressed up.
He should have been called Jumping Over Stuff Knievel.
Yeah, Jumping Over Stuff Knievel gives you a much better idea of what he does, doesn't it?
I know.
It was Ming out of Flash Gordon could have called himself Evil Ming, but
yeah,
because he was out of order trying to destroy our planet, the Earth, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Because we live here.
Out of line.
It's bang out of line, that.
If we were around then, we wouldn't have allowed it, would we?
We'd have shot straight up there in a rocket, the pair of us. You dressed in your evil rhyming prophecy robes. Me, I think I'd go naked for the trip, And
showing off the Hawaiian tan.
Oh yeah, the Hawaiian tan. Ian, Noel, do you remember when the people of Earth, us, sent that spaceship up, in case there was aliens and there was a drawing of a man and a woman in it?
Yeah.
I think that should have been drawings of me and you.
Definitely.
Because then, when the aliens came, they'd have just ignored everyone else and looked for me and you, and that would have given us power with the aliens.
We'd have been slightly above everyone else.
We would have been elevated to the status of kings.
We'd have been in with the aliens.
We'd have been well in with them.
They're a bit cliquey aliens, aren't they?
They're a bit what? Cliquey?
A bit cliquey, they'd have ignored everyone else.
Yeah, they're very much. If you're in with them, they're fine, but if they don't like you, you know about it.
You gotta be on their guest list.
Yeah, you got to. It's just simply not coming in.
He seemed like that when I met him.
Yeah, was he?
He looked right through me.
He just looked through. He's a very cold man. To tell you the truth, I was happy when he went all chalky and just laid down by that river. I thought he deserved it.
That was perfect.
Noel, beautiful Noel Fielding, right? Your phone line's a bit rubbish, and this program, we've got to go to the news quite soon, so
all right, cool.
I've missed you a little bit. Yeah.
I got some friends who are travelling back from the Isle of Skye.
Yeah, cool.
I did a festival there.
Oh, yeah.
Boo, my brother.
Oh, yeah.
My girlfriend who's in Robots in Disguise.
Cool.
Who's driving. Boo.
Hello, all of them. Hello, all of you. Hello, Naboo, I like you. Nice. Oh, that's lovely. They're travelling back from Skye in a festival, or they're travelling back from a festival in the sky.
I'm not sure.
It's difficult to know, isn't it? Have a look at the admin when they get back. Have a look at their passports. Only then will you truly know where they've been.
Look at the itinerary.
Just look at the
There's
itinerary.
a cloud in the corner.
It'll all be on the itinerary. Noel Fielding, thanks for coming on, mate. I look forward to the new forthcoming series of Boosh. When are we going to see it on our tellies?
Before Christmas. We're filming in about 6 weeks.
The people that are in this room with me flung their arms in the air triumphantly to celebrate it. Marsha, who's my assistant, right? She's agreed. Jimmy Savile came on the phone. Guess what? One of our listeners was in a curry house up north and sent us a message saying, I'm in a curry house, I can see Jimmy Savile. So we phoned up that curry house and the manager took the phone over and we spoke to Jimmy Savile. And now my personal assistant, Marsha's got to have it off with him. It's all gone bonkers.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it, Noel?
Curry and Savile.
Yeah.
That's a double.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. I can't wait for this baby to be born. You and I will rear it as our own, will we?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, that's going to be a lot of responsibility, but we'll do it. Noel, thanks for coming on, mate.
Take care, mate.
Take it easy
Have
and
fun
love
in
to your
Hawaii.
friends.
I'll speak to you soon.
Speak to you when I get back. Bye, mate. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, the lovely Noel Fielding there. Oh, how we miss him and his ramblings. Evil Knievel, he wasn't even evil. Right, Mr. G, it's time for you to summarise this glorious show in the form of a poem. Let's hear it from Mr. G. Woo, yeah,
Whoa.
right, yeah. Atmosphere, yeah.
Okay, this poem is called The Composite of Opposites. It now appears that the opposite of good has been overtook by the opposite of bad. That makes us the opposite of last in the podcast charts, and so if you care to ask, we are the opposite of sad. From opposing sides of the earth, between different horizons there lurks Jimmy Savile along with Marsha, who's sporting the opposite of a smirk, while Russell fails miserably with David Walliams to be the opposite of a flirt. We're live, so I'm nervously awake. Usually we record with Matt on board, the time the opposite of late, and we always look the opposite of great. How preposterous is fate that the listeners send Noel Fielding's well wishes with misquoted mistakes done with the opposite of hate. And so in fact it would be rude if I didn't show the opposite of ingratitude. Tuning in weekly is a must, so here's some actual love from the opposite of you towards the opposite of us.
Woohoo, Mr. G! What a poem! It's the best poem yet! We're going to change the world with poetry! The revolution starts here, but this time led by artists. Not bad artists like Hitler who didn't concentrate, but good, nice artists like us. Right, get ready for the revolution. Prepare yourselves. Don't trust politicians. Never vote. Okay, stay peaceful. Do pay your licence fee, though. I mean, you know, we've got to insist on that. And, you know, very soon we're going to be learning what's going on in this bonkers world of ours with a lovely lady I like to call Andrea Simmons. But before that, let's thank our wonderful guest, David Walliams, Andrea Simmons, the wonderful Noel Fielding. In fact, they're all wonderful. Let's not belittle any particular individuals. Mr. G, thank you for stepping in. It's been a magnificent show. I thank you all enormously from the bottom of my heart. Unite yourselves. Keep the gifts coming to the Turtle Bay Resort. Keep your emails coming. Stay with us. Keep it at #1 that podcast chart. I love you with actual, genuine love. This is Radio 2 from 88 to 91 FM. This is Radio 2 from the BBC. Here is the news.
At 11 o'clock now, this is Andrea Simmons.